All right, and welcome once again, All Takes Valid, episode 30. As always, I go by Trill Trey, joined once again with SP21 or Spence
The
and
old king has returned.
Vick. So, Vic, go ahead and give them the rundown for today's episode.
Go Bucks. So with the again with episode 30, we will start off with the divisional recap of what happened this past weekend. Definitely a wild weekend and a lot of controversy with one game in particular.
Controversy.
What game? One game in particular. Not talking about any game that you're thinking, but um,
Okay.
the second topic we'll be talking about is Rivers. Is he a Hall of Famer? We will make that debate. And to end off for the final topic, this is a fan question. Um, Basically, the question is, can you truly be a fan of two teams in the same sport? We will be giving our answer to that question. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and start with the divisional recap. I'm going to give each game's final score. Uh, Google did not fail me this week. I made sure that these were the correct scores.
Yeah, okay.
So you had you had to start off. You had the Baltimore Ravens, the number 5 seed, versus the Buffalo Bills. Um, Baltimore lost 3-17. Then you had the Cleveland, and it's not in the order that the games happened. I'm just rambling off. Cleveland, number 6 seed versus the number 1 seed, Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs won 22-17. That was the game that I was saying was a controversial, I guess, game.
Mm,
I would say with the ups and
gotcha.
downs, things that happened. Um,
Right.
you also had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the Sunday night game beat the New Orleans Saints in an upset, 30-20. And you had the Los Angeles Rams lose to the Green Bay Packers, 32-18. So right now we have the Bucks heading over to the Green Bay Packers Sunday, and the Buffalo Bills heading over to KC. Um, Now, with that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and get this out the way because I know Spence definitely wants to talk about it. Baltimore lost to Buffalo Bills 17-3. What are your takes on that?
What are you talking to me?
Yeah. You got the background with Lamar holding the L.
Well, first, before anything, make sure you remind yourself that I won this week, so by a landslide. Whoo! I hope people who listen to my picks is rich, ladies and gentlemen, rich. But let me break it down to you. First, Trey, I'm disappointing you. I'm disappointing you. Why? This should be a lesson. You should learn from the last time you picked this team and you lost the last time and you did it again. This is your fault. Anyways, well, like you both said, like you said, Vic, there's not going to be a lot of running. The Bills are not known for their run defense, their running game. Their running games was not exist in that game. So what happened? A lot of miscues, a lot of a lot of I want to say bad timing. Now, don't get me wrong. The Bills did not. What's that word I'm looking for? Didn't took advantage of what y'all gave. What the Ravens gave them. Because if they did, this score would have been a little bit more crazy. But they didn't because of the wind conditions and other things. But two doinks. I know that hurt. Two doinks from the most accurate kicker that in almost in NFL history next to Vinatieri. And two doinks? Oh, I know it's chilly, but what have I been saying for the longest of times? If Lamar can't throw, this team is gone. because of course Lamar can run with his legs. I'm not taking that from him. And I don't want him to try to do these 50, 60, 70 long balls. No, I do not want that. I want Lamar to have a consistent game of a throwing motion. What I mean by that is that most of the receivers that he has are good slot receivers, but if Mark Andrews is out, what else you got? He try to use Hollywood sometimes, don't really work that much. Y'all let go of Ingram too? How dare y'all?
I mean,
He put the big trust in y'all, and y'all didn't trust him.
Yeah, he made it up.
And y'all just kicked him to the curb. How dare y'all? But anyways, but like I said before, this was a game that I knew is going to test Lamar's arm, and it happened. And that's why we got a 101 pick six in the playoffs. So sorry, Vic, but looks like your Super Bowl fantasy is gonna have to change on the other side in the AFC.
that's
Hey,
fine.
my pick is still alive though. So
My pick is still alive. Well, except for the NFC, but the AFC is still alive too. So I'm good. That's all I have.
Okay. What about you, Trey?
so I was out of town this weekend, so I didn't see a lot of the games live. I was kind of watching the score updates on my phone, whatnot. But I was following the games. When I saw the score, it was kind of crazy to me that I know the conditions and everything, but like you said,
Mhm.
the fact that I seen that you guys missed two field goals, which he's pretty much Mr. Automatic. That don't happen with him. And it's okay. He missed one, but to miss two, that's kind of wild to me. But even still, despite that, you take those out the way. You guys are still pretty much in the game. Lamar drove you guys down the field. Now, this is where the problem came. That 101-yard pick six. That was very costly to say the least.
Hmm.
But shout out to Teron Johnson. Got to put respect on his name because when we played the Bills, I felt like that was the play that changed the game for Pittsburgh during the regular season, and it was Teron Johnson who pretty much did the same thing. He
Hmm.
just read where Ben was going. He knew he was going to go to Juju, and guess what? He jumped it. Same similar situation. And he even said in the interview thereafter that he just knows that Mark Andrews is Lamar Jackson's favorite target, especially in the red zone. So he was just aware of that. And what did he do? He made a great play on the ball. Probably even a better return than the actual interception because I thought Lamar was actually going to hawk him down for a second. He
He
pretty much
he was.
he was in position, but had a good block and good 101-yard interception return. That pretty much kind of closed the gap on the game for me at that point. Once they were up that much, and you got to consider you only had 3 points in the whole first half of the game, it's not likely that you're going to come back and score 14 more points with as much time that was left after that took place. So it's kind of unfortunate there. Other thing though is what's bad about that play to me that sticks out is if you look at that play, Hollywood Brown was wide open in the end zone. You didn't really, I don't think, kind of read the whole field, I guess, or you didn't kind of look at everything. You kind of just had it made up in your mind. It's Mark Andrews. I get it. That's your security blanket. That's your go-to guy. He's always there for you, whatever the case is. But if you know that's where you want to go, kind of scan real quick. You would have seen Hollywood open, and you probably don't make that same interception. But it is what it is. Um, it's no knock on Lamar for me. Like it's. I mean, it is what it is. What it is. It's unfortunate, but I'm happy it happened. Don't get me wrong, but you know, I just don't want this to be another indictment on Lamar though. That people try to be like, oh, see, he can't pass the ball. I'm not saying all that. He can throw the ball just fine. I mean, you've seen that his MVP year. Does he need to improve more still? Yes, as all quarterbacks do. You want to see a constant improvement. And I will say it looks like his passing game did kind of digress this year, but that's not to say that he can't throw the ball. I don't want to have that notion that everybody tries to say that he can't throw. That's not the case, but there was a see most quarterbacks, I guess they have what they call the sophomore slump. I don't think
Some do,
I
yeah.
think Lamar kind of jumped up so much in his sophomore year, which was the
Hey,
MVP
nah, it's
year.
just like,
And then
right,
now this year is kind of where you're kind of seeing, I guess, a
but,
slump
right.
per se. So again, I've been saying this for like 2, 3 years to you now, Vic. You guys need a real number one receiver, and things might look a little different. That's just my take on it. But nonetheless, I'm not mad with the outcome, even though I picked the Ravens, thought the Ravens were going to win. They got bounced out a week earlier than what I expected. I'll take it.
Okay. Um, well, so in in my eyes, from what I've seen from the game, for one, shout out to that boy Johnson for the Buffalo Bills because to me, when I saw that play in live action, um, I was like, man, I know Lamar's gonna go to Mark Andrews. I just hope that he kind of like looks off type of deal.
Disguise it.
Pump,
And
pump fake at least.
and the great thing about what Johnson did was he baited him. So he he dropped into his own coverage because that's all they did most of the game. Dropped into his own coverage, acted like he was going into the flats. Then he jumped right back in, like probably like a second or two, right when he seen that Lamar was getting ready to throw that ball to Mark Andrews. I was like, yeah, that's gonna be a pick. But I was thinking like what Trey was saying that Lamar was gonna tackle Johnson. If it was just 1-on-1, maybe so. But I seen that convoy coming. I was like, it slowly started to unravel. I was just like, dang. So I wasn't too happy about it initially, but again, everybody wants to talk about, hey, Lamar, he didn't pass the ball so well. Obviously, you can look at the QBR and all that stuff, and it's going to show that hey, he has a better QBR than Josh Allen, but that's also included with the rushing, which I believe it was 55.7
Okay.
versus Josh Allen 51, which ultimately the Ravens defense they had a phenomenal game. Like they
Mhm.
could have potentially won the game. Obviously, Justin Tucker missing those two field goals. If Lamar, played smarter about um, that interception that he threw, but it's a could have, would have, should have game that we can always play, and it is what it is. Ultimately, um, congratulations to the Buffalo Bills getting to the AFC Championship. I was pleased, like even though I was not too happy with the outcome. I was pleased with from what I seen from the defense, offensively. When they were talking about the game plan that they're going to play zone coverage, keep Lamar in front of them, I was like, that's a great game plan. Like the Buffalo Bills, they got something going on. Leslie Frazier had a good game plan for Lamar. Um, Lamar didn't have a great game at all in terms of on the ground, 3.9 yards per rush. Um, had 162 passing yards, obviously one interception, no touchdowns, compared to Josh Allen, 22 attempts for, 37 attempts, 22 completions for 206, one touchdown again. Big kudos to the defense for what they did, holding them down. Obviously, the win was a big factor. We've seen some missed throws.
Yep.
So yeah, it was tough. But my big thing that I want to say going to the off season for the Ravens, figure out what you're going to do with Giro. The offense coordinator Greg Roman, we call him Giro, um, because he's more run dominant. And I feel like for Lamar, in terms of his progression, which every year he's progressed. He's done better in some areas, some statistical areas like touchdown, interception, things like that. Is digressed, but for the most part, he's improved in a lot of areas. But like Trey was alluding to, getting that number one receiver, that's going to be a big thing. There was a Twitter post that a receiver that's potentially going to be a free agent, which is Allen Robinson, that he liked, that the Baltimore Ravens had posted. So, hey, I mean, if Allen Robinson is what they'll do, I mean, in common history, Ravens haven't invested into receiver. Usually they get receivers late in their career, like Derek Mason, Eric Anquan Bolden, etc. So it's, I'm not saying that
Steve
they're,
Smith,
yeah, Steve Smith, they're
Des
not,
Bryant.
they're
Des
not,
say Des
yeah,
Bryant.
they're a little long in the tooth, but they're still productive.
Right.
So my two biggest thing is, I know Lamar, he's gonna work, he's gonna improve on his passing mechanics, but the offensive coordinator, I feel like either Greg Roman's gonna either he has to evolve, or if not, we have to find somebody that, the run game. I feel like the run game is gonna be what it is. All right, but the passing game, Lamar, he needs somebody to open up more of the passing game, because more times than not, you see the Ravens, they run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. You gotta, like, for a quarterback, you have to get in rhythm. Like him running the ball every single down, or having those RPOs. Like, yeah, it's great, but you have to get in the rhythm too. I'm not saying trying to make him into a passing quarterback, but just like how Trey was talking about with the Steelers, like the offensive coordinator, the play calling, sometimes it's
We
just
got
like,
rid of
hey,
ours. We got rid of our
exactly.
problem.
So I just feel like that's what the Ravens need to do. So with
I
that
say
being,
I compare that to look at the Titans, for example. They're
Mhm.
run heavy, but they work in enough play
Pass,
Play
action
actions.
yeah,
Yeah.
to build on that and have Tannehill
hmm,
get confidence with his passes, and
yep,
he can get into that rhythm.
hmm,
He also does the RPO stuff too, so it's like it can work with a heavy run game. The Browns, Baker Mayfield has benefited from a heavy run game. You
Right.
can
Yeah.
run the set up the pass, but it seems like you said, I don't think you guys pass enough with how much y'all run, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah. I agree. I agree. So I mean, with that being said, number one, offensive coordinator. Number two, obviously, I don't even have to put that as a top priority because I know Lamar's gonna work. But Lamar, continue working on your passing game. And number three, probably the most one, so you can honestly put that as number two. Lamar at number three, but getting that number one receiver. I don't think it's, historically, for the Ravens drafting a receiver, it's not the most ideal thing. We don't develop receivers like that. So getting, if Allen Robinson is the man, I would I'd give him the bag, give him a blank check. Here you go. All right.
hey, I'm not gonna lie, I would hate that because that man was a dog since he came out and was with Jacksonville. And I, I posted something in our sports debate page we got on Facebook, the Great Sports Debate. Y'all can check us out on there as well here. We daily debating different topics. But I posted something statistically for Allen Robinson, 60% of his passes in his career are deemed uncatchable balls.
Yeah.
And if you look at his numbers, that's crazy to me because just imagine if he had a competent quarterback throwing the ball, what his numbers might look like. If 60% of the balls that he gets thrown
Yeah.
are he's not supposed to catch them anyways.
Hmm. And biggest thing is, him coming to Baltimore. He'll be coming to a winning organization. Yeah, Lamar does have to work on his passing mechanics, but I'm sure they can get that with a full off season, working together. And I'm sure Lamar can give him some catchable passes. I mean, he's not a bad passing quarterback. He does need to work on it, but I think it's just consistency at this point. So,
And
with
then
that
that
being said,
opens everything else up because having a true receiver like a Allen Robinson on the outside, that gives Hollywood so much more free reign, that gives Mark Andrews so much more free reign.
hmm,
So it kind of just it opens everything up because you have more options at that point.
exactly.
And
Y'all got some young receivers. Not saying that they're bad per se, but they're not. They're not ones. They're not the guy.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. Yeah, they're probably more slot receivers. potentially a number
Yeah, they're
two.
good compliments too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
need a one.
You.
And just to go to real quick about what Spence had said earlier about Mark Andrews. Yeah, it's unfortunate that he's not part of the team anymore. You can see later on in the season.
We mean Mark Ingram.
Ingram.
My bad. Yeah,
I was
Mark.
I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying, y'all let Andrews go. I said, y'all don't care no more.
No, Mark Andrews ain't going nowhere. But Mark
I'm
Ingram.
gonna say he will fit. He will
Yeah,
have a fit.
just like D Watson with DeAndre.
Oh yeah, he will have a fit.
But yeah, so just real quick, Mark Andrews, obviously we appreciate. It was definitely surprising seeing him being inactive those last two games, healthy scratches at that, and apparently that was all a financial reason. But at the same time, kudos and shout out to Mark Ingram for being the pro that he is. Usually, most pros, most people out there, they would cause a distraction because they're like, hey, I need to be on the field, like I shouldn't be benched, this and that and the other. Maybe he might have been saying that to his family, friends, type of deal, but at least to the public, to the team, he was supportive, just being a great team player. And we appreciate everything he did for the organization. And the hype that everybody knows, big trust, you think about that, you think about him. So
Hey, it's room. If you want to get back at him,
We
need a running back.
Oh,
You the number one in Pittsburgh. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Hey,
you will be.
hey, Mark.
You will be.
Hey,
you will be sick to your stomach.
Hey, hit my boy Tomlin up, man.
Don't join the devil. That's all I got.
Hey, let's do it. Hey, let's make it
Shake
work.
the head.
Let's make it work. Get Connor up out of there. Put Ingram in.
You'll
there.
be sick to your. You'll be sick to your stomach.
Game too. He'll figure something out. He'll make it work. He'll make it work.
Ew. That does make sense though. But that'll be
veteran. You probably don't got to pay high end.
You guys do need a running back.
He's still productive. He can still be productive.
He's a power back.
Who on our roster right now is really gonna challenge him for playtime?
Right.
So I feel like it's a good fit. But
who knows? Off season is real.
Hey, Ingram, I'm gonna hit you up on Twitter. We gonna chop it up. Let's see what we can work out.
I have my people call my people. I have my people call your people.
So, with the next game, we will be talking about the Los Angeles Rams losing to the Green Bay Packers 18-32, which the score doesn't really tell you the whole picture. Wasn't really that much of a close game. But with that being said, Trey, what you got to say about this game?
Yeah, so I don't want to use the word domination, but I mean, Green Bay, I believe it was you who said it last week, or maybe it was after this game, but I think it was after this game that you said that they actually more or less showed you something. And I can pretty much say the same thing. They are the hot team right now. If I could say out of any of the teams that are pretty much like left in the playoffs right now, I might edge it to them. I mean, Buffalo, you could say, yeah, the defense stepped up, but the Ravens did a pretty good job of stopping
the offense.
That offense for the most part.
Right.
Obviously, we're going to talk about the Chiefs and what's going to go on with that, and then the Bucks. We'll talk about that in a second here too. But to me, right now, the Packers are looking like the hot team, well-rounded, all around on, I can say, all phases, from the offense, from the running game to the defense. The only one takeaway I do have, though, is, I mean, Devontae Adams, yeah, he scored on Ramsey per se, but to me, it wasn't really the matchup that I wanted it. And I seen a little clip of their mic'd up or whatever, and it was just like, even on that score that he scored, they did like a little motion where it's like, yeah, he's on them, but it's kind of like a rub route in a sense. So obviously he gets a free release, and you know, it's different if Ramsey can press up on him, but that's smart by the offensive coordinator on the Packers end. We're not gonna play your game and just try to take deep shots with Devontae Adams and try to beat you that way. He's gonna move them all around the field and take advantage that way. So I guess if you want to say Devontae Adams won the matchup, that's what you can say. To me, it wasn't like a true one-on-one situation to where he played some of these other receivers. Or again, we'll get to this in a second with the Bucks game, but Slant Boy and Carlton Davis, where he actually, played him one-on-one on every snap, pressed up, they were going, well, I can't say they were going at it because he kind of pretty much shut that down. But again, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, not really much to say. And I don't want to make excuses for the Rams, but I mean, Goff's playing with a pretty much broken thumb or surgically repaired thumb. Donald obviously wasn't 100%.
Wait.
So, I mean, it kind of is what it is. But at the end of the day, you can only play who's on the field. Healthy, not healthy, that's not the Packers' fault. They just got to go out there and execute, and that's what they did at a high level. So you just got to tip your hat to them in regards to that. I can't make excuses. The only fault thing that I have is I wish even for a couple series or a drive that I really got to see that battle with Adams and Ramsey to see who really would have, if Adams would have really got the better of him. But it is what it is. They won. He scored his touchdown. He feels like he did what he said he was going to do. So I mean, a win. He takes the win, I guess, if you look at it that way.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go next. So for my take, as Trey was talking about, I had a post that I put up on the Great Sports Debate. Y'all can follow that page. Contact us if y'all aren't on the page, and we can send you an invite. But so what I said was that I was impressed with the Green Bay Packers. They showed me a lot. I was more so pertaining to the offense, just the physicality that they ran with. I didn't expect them to run the ball as much and well as effectively as they did against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, as Trey was talking about, because I did rewatch the game for the most part, not all of it, but I just wanted to see, well, what I just kind of like a recap of everything. And as Trey was talking about Aaron Donald, saying Sean McVay saying that he was healthy, that he was good to go, and all that stuff. Yeah, you can say that, but you can definitely tell that Aaron Donald wasn't Aaron Donald. So it was still impressive that they were able to do it because, again, obviously it's not just one player that makes a team the number one overall defense. So it's a whole collective group. Um, but, again, just the way that they were able to pass the ball against the Rams and run the ball effectively, and especially defensively, even though Cam Akers was averaging against the Packers defense 5 yards per carry, 90 yards on 18 carries. So, he had an effective game.
You did.
So some of the numbers may kind of be misleading, and the fact that, the Packers won in the fashion that they did, um, it kind of overshadows the reality of it, which again, I'm not trying to discredit saying that the Packers aren't, you know, as physical and whatnot. I'm not trying to say any of that. They did show me that they were physical, that they can run the ball, that they can, um, just perform up against a number one defense, which we had the numbers posted up on the Great Sports Debate. Um, Again, going to what Trey was talking about with the whole Jalen Ramsey and Devontae Adams one-on-one matchup. Yes, as anybody that knows that has been following the channel, I am a Devontae Adams fan. I am also a fan of Jalen Ramsey's game too, but Devontae all day. Um, None of those receptions that I've seen on, except for one. There was one that Devontae ran a slant. He caught on on Ramsey, but it
Mhm.
wasn't anything significant. The touchdown pass, it was a rub. I mean, basically, it was, as Jalen was mad on the sideline that we all seen, the corner that was on that side was supposed to take Devontae, and
Mhm.
Devontae was supposed to take the inside receiver, which that's like a common. I mean, anybody that's played sports. I mean, I played on the high school level and collegiate level. Um, that's the typical rule, but the corner wasn't aware, didn't know what he was supposed to do, and obviously it was just a miscommunication, and that's why you seen Devontae pretty much wide open, not entirely wide open, but he was open for the easy touchdown against Jalen Ramsey, and everybody wants to say, hey, saw what he did to Jalen Ramsey, but as Trey was talking about, Adam says that you're gonna have to follow me all day, which basically is saying that he's gonna be in motion and whatnot, which to me is like, yeah, that's good, but same time, that's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's weak, but it's just like it tells you that you have to get creative in order for you to get open instead of just being at the line and just doing what
Yeah,
you got to
beat him
do.
off the line. Yep.
So to me, it's like I consider that battle not what I expected, and it's a wash. And to me, honestly, I would still give Jalen Ramsey the win on that, just because for the most part, the only route that he did run, a slant route that he caught on Jalen Ramsey, I mean, he got him, but it was like for what, like 7 yards, something like that. It wasn't anything significant. He didn't really beat him. But yeah, Jalen Ramsey did get that touchdown scored on him, even though it wasn't on him, but it was, again, a miscommunication.
Yeah, he was
So,
supposed to be in that position anyway. It wasn't supposed to be him.
yeah. And there was the other play that, I was telling with the Packers fan on another sport page that he said, oh, you see what he did to Ramsey? I was like, Ramsey was clearly in a zone coverage on that one. I think he was probably in cover three because he was strafing. His back was to the sideline, and he could clearly let Devontae, go into like the slant route or the deep, um, the short post route that he was doing, and push him off to the linebackers. Even when Devontae caught the ball, he was still in pursuit, but he wasn't like heavily in pursuit because it's just, you just watched that play and it was just obvious that he was in zone coverage. So, some people were like, oh, he was a man. You see how bad he beat Jalen Ramsey inside? No, he didn't beat him like that. Like, it was zone coverage. He pressed up at the line of scrimmage, but he backed off. Like, it was, but, again, all in all, impressive with Rodgers and the Packers offense. So that's all I got to say. Spence?
Well, if most receivers of the Green Bay Packers would eat well, if Aaron didn't overpass that one pass to Lazar,
Yeah.
if Michael Scantley could have catch that one pass, maybe in touchdowns, it could have been a lot higher. Now on the other side, if Johnson and I forgot the other cornerback for the Rams, if they would have caught those in the end zone, maybe the game would have been a little bit different from there.
Yeah.
Uh, First, let me give kudos to the Packers. Now, I mean, they won this game. Akers did exactly what they wanted from a running back, especially since they drafted him. I mean, he played. He played. I mean, he played as well as you can ask him to, especially that stiff arm. I mean, you can ask him what you ask him to. To be honest, I think Ramsey, like you guys said, I think he won that battle. I mean, yeah, sure, motions may look a little weak, but I mean, hey, if I can't beat him, if I'm not gonna beat him head on, I gotta think of ways to beat him. So I get it though, but I get it. Everybody wants that one-on-one matchup. Hey, let's fight for it. I get it.
I mean, it was
But
smart again by the offensive coordinator.
Great
I
game.
mean,
Maybe he didn't feel like Adams could have
it's
beaten him
good.
that way, or he didn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to risk it, probably.
That was a great game plan by
Yeah.
the head coach. I
Yeah.
definitely
So sometimes you gotta do it. Other than that, gentlemen, Aaron Donald's. I love you, man. I love you. I love everything that you do as a defensive player. Is playing with two crack ribs. I don't care if you're freaking Captain America with the super serum. That's gonna hurt. That's going to hurt. And with all that, I think there's just a lot of emotions was flaring, especially on defense, because two of those penalties they had could have, should have been called or shouldn't have happened. But I get it. It's high, intensity's high, everybody's getting frustrated. I get it. But some of those things I especially that one call that Aaron, like when I guess Aaron had his offensive line for the Green Bay Packers, like hands, like face mask kind of thing.
Yeah.
I felt like that shouldn't have happened because if that they were about to get off. They were literally about to get off the field. So other than that, I think it was just a lot of high emotions, a lot of like stakes, a lot of like pressure for the Rams, and the Packers are just like, hey, we have a game plan. Let's just run the game plan, as and and we just seen who really worked out. No, the Rams had some injuries on their side of the field, but hey, like Trey said, hey, Sunday, who you lined up, man. Who you lined up is who you lined up.
All right. Um, Anybody else have anything else to say about this game before we move on to the next topic?
I got a W.
All right. So with that being said, we're going on to the next one, which is the Bucks defeating the Temp defeating the New Orleans Saints 30-20. So I think I was the only one that got that one right. I think, or was
Well,
there
no,
some?
Spence.
Oh yeah, you got
Spence
that right too.
Spence was 4 for 4 this weekend.
Yeah, my bad.
Clean sweep, sir. Clean sweep.
I was the one who went against the Bucks.
Okay. So with that being said, go with you, Trey, since you were the only one that didn't get it right.
Hey, hats off to the Bucks defense. That honestly was the kind of like I feel like it was a stalemate because what you're tied going into half, more or less. They tied it up right before half. Bucks did. Pretty much an even game on both sides. And even on each of those turnovers, it seemed like the Saints had some momentum rolling on those drives, and specifically the one that stands out the most though is that Devin White interception. That one pretty much I think that pretty much sealed the game. It changed
It was a dagger.
everything on that. That was it at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I kind of alluded to earlier, Carl Davis, like I said, I'm no Bucks fan by a long shot, but that boy Carlton Davis, I will always, give him props. He's out there. He's been doing his thing all years. I know after that Chiefs game, he got a lot of unfair criticism, but nobody is sticking Tyreek Hill one-on-one. Even you, Jalen Ramsey, it's just that speed. You can't account for that.
That's why he plays zone.
Unless you're gonna keep him from moving off that line, which is gonna be impossible to do.
Yeah.
Once that speed kicks in, if you don't got no safety over top, you're done. You shouldn't even put anybody in that situation. But outside of that, though, Carlton Davis has been locking up receivers pretty much all season. And you've seen it again with Slant Boy, as we like to call him around these parts. Breeze, though, I don't know if he is going to retire. The arm doesn't look like what it was for him.
I know.
Yeah, is it? Because even I feel like on all those interceptions, like I see where he was trying to put the ball. And I'm not taking away from the defense because I mean, obviously the defense, they read it, they made
great ball, right?
But I feel like if he had more velocity on some of his balls, maybe he's able to make that play. Maybe he's able to make those plays that they're not picked. because like the one to Kamara that got intercepted. I saw where he was trying to go. I seen it.
Yes.
It was there until it wasn't. And again, I don't know if that was.
So it wasn't.
I don't know if it was just the defender making a great play, or coupled with the fact that Breeze's arm velocity is not what like a lot. I won't say they're quite ducks that he's throwing like Peyton Manning his last year. He was just throwing up. He was clearly just throwing ducks when Peyton was on his last leg. It's not
Yeah.
quite. It's not quite that bad, but yeah.
I think he knew.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. I did get hyped when they put in Jameis Winston and he threw that touchdown. That was crazy. I was like, whoa.
I know everybody. So I was like, really,
If they would have ended up winning that
really?
game, even though that would not have been the play that won the game,
Oh, they'll. Oh yeah,
that would have been.
they. Oh, they would.
Oh
Oh.
my
Oh.
You were saying Jameis at the end of the game with the dub eating it.
Oh yeah, you guys would have never.
Oh, y'all would have. Y'all would have. You would have broke your TV. Oh, you would have broke your TV. Somebody will break their TV. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, but I mean, all in all, though, was a. I mean, it was a good game. I'm glad that it was closer than what I expected it to be. I expected it to just be a rout again. So the Bucks stepped up. They came to play. Leonard Fournette had a good game. Brady, I mean, what, 3 touchdowns? I mean, he had a good game for the most part. I mean, but the MVP for sure was that Bucks defense. Them boys stepped up and made it happen. That was the key difference in the game, was the defense.
All right, Spence.
I'm gonna make this quick. What's that Drake song I was looking for? Oh yeah, I think it started looking for revenge. Anyways, oh man, yeah, I this is the one I knew. This is it. If I know Tom Brady like I know Tom Brady because my team has been playing against him for years. If I know anything about Tom Brady, he's gonna let you have the regular season wins. Okay, yeah, you got me. Okay, yeah, you got me. When it comes to playoff time, see me for real. Now, once again, all alluded, the defense of the Bucks, yes, we're clearly MVPs on this one because it would look like it's about to be a neck and neck race for a long time. But yeah, man, I had a feeling this was about to be the one game. Yeah, y'all lost 31-3 against them. Yeah, y'all lost the season opener against them. I understand that, but when it comes down to playoff football, something about Tom is like, you know what? We gotta win this one. I'm 0-2 against him. I'm not gonna be 0-3. We gotta get one, and it's the most important one. So with that, I knew in my heart, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick the Bucks on this one. So, and then I was right. Now it's on to Green Bay.
All right. Well, so just for my recap of the Bucks versus the Saints. Personally, I mean, I expected a win, of course. I mean, I am a Bucks fan at the end of the day, but at the same time, um, just playoff Tom Brady, it gives you, just like I was telling a friend of mine's, like for some reason, just having Tom Brady on a team, compared to Jameis or any other quarterback that we've had before, like it kind of gives you a different kind of feel, like a confidence, just knowing going into the game that, hey, Tom Brady's been here, he's done that, like he knows what to do in the playoffs. And even though again Tom Brady didn't lose the game, um, he also didn't win the game either. But he won it ultimately by not costing the team by turning the ball over, throwing an interception. Even though there was 2 plays where he almost had a interception. One the DB dropped, and the other one, which it was low, but the other one, the other DB didn't have both feet down when he caught the ball. So doesn't count as an interception. But my player of the game is Devin White. I knew he was on a mission in the first half when he tackled Kamara and he came up. His lip was bleeding, and he was just licking it. He was just like, just focused, just ready to bust heads, and he knocked out. Basically, took that receiver number 11 for the Saints, the one that was returning the punts.
Yeah, I
Oh
can't
no,
think of his name.
Yeah,
I
well,
can't think of
he
it.
knocked him out the game. He had a neck injury. He ain't come back since. He popped him on a offensive play that Drew Brees threw him the ball, and Devin White came and hit him. Ever since then, he was MIA. But Devin White, he was a man on a mission. He basically the heart and soul of defense. But big shout out to Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, not Antoine Winfield. You know, forcing that fumble, creating an opportunity for the Bucks to get another possession, just helping the team win. He played big, um, and again, like Trey was saying, defense was a big part in the Buccaneers winning this game. But as also Trey had stated too, that boy 2-4, Carlton Davis, strapping stuff up. You ain't really hear too much. Actually, you was watching the game, you was wondering what happened with Michael Thomas. Like, what's he doing? And most of the time he was manned up on Michael Thomas, and he wasn't allowing him to get anything. There was, obviously passes attempted towards him, but of course he didn't come down with any of them. He had zero catches. He had that goose egg.
Bro.
Carlton Davis has been doing this all year. Again, everybody pretty much looks at him and they think, hey, Tyreek Hill, because of that one game. But even last week against Terry, not last week, the week before against Terry McLaurin, like, yeah, he had a good stat line, but matched up 1-on-1 against Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis held his own. Um,
Yeah, them stats came against when he, lined up against one of
yeah,
the other defenders, not necessarily Carl.
so
So
um, I was definitely, another shout out to the right guard Aaron Stinney. Stepped in, second year player, did a phenomenal job. Like, there wasn't no push in the pocket and pass protection. There was a push in the run game on the right side, which obviously both playoff Leonard Fournette, and Rojo, they both had 60 yards on the ground. So, obviously the ground game was in big effect, and that ultimately helped the Bucks win the game and ended the um, 5-game losing streak that the Buccaneers had against the Saints, and also helped the Bucks advance and possibly end a great 4-year run that the New Orleans Saints have had. Trey had posted that earlier today about the Saints.
yeah,
Trey.
it's the most in history by a team to not win a Super Bowl. On top of that, that's crazy. I believe the official number is 49 wins regular
That's a
season,
lot.
and
Yeah, yeah.
ultimately it resulted in not a single Super Bowl. So yeah,
All right.
I mean, like we talked, I mean, some of them was tough breaks. I mean, that Rams no call should have been a call.
Should have been a call, man. Should have been a call. All the other twos, I get it. Yep. Y'all lost that one. But that Rams one, that should have been a call, man. That should have been a call.
This one though, this is on Breeze. He has to eat this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You turn the ball over, bad things happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So, with that being said, we can go on to the next and final
Wow.
game, which
Okay.
is the Cleveland Browns losing to the Kansas City Chiefs 22-17.
Hey, Vic, go ahead and start this one off because I have a feeling you picked somebody different from us. didn't you?
So yeah, I picked the Browns to win this one. Um,
Go ahead.
they came up short. Um,
I get it, Vic.
yeah,
I get it. Vic, I get it. I get it. They beat him. I get it. You know what? Yeah. Steeler Nation's out. Yeah. Oh, it's still Baker.
I mean, they had a chance. I mean,
They did.
didn't win, but regardless, it was my potential, you know,
Upset.
upset that I felt like, they had a good chance. And obviously that first half, they had a lot of issues going on, whether it was the run
Run
game.
the North.
Yeah, yeah, I don't, but
We always
uh
we got
Nick
that
Chubb,
division title still.
Nick Chubb looks like he was, having not the worst game of his life, but he wasn't having a
A
particularly
good
good game
one.
standards. But second half he picked it up, but first half he wasn't looking like himself. Dropping
No.
passes, just not looking himself. Obviously Mahomes was doing his thing, throwing the rock around. Although he didn't look particularly too well himself, especially with I guess what was reported turf toe that he was dealing with. So yeah, um, ultimately I can say I watched the first half. Second half I had a game, so I couldn't I couldn't finish. I was just watching the box score. So y'all can go ahead and give the details on that one. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I'm gonna make mine real quick. Well, a ghost of Christmas past, aka a ghost of Dolphins past, made appearance again,
Hmm.
which is of Chad Henne. I don't know how he's still around, but he is.
If he would have lost them this game,
Oh,
he wouldn't be in
he
the league
couldn't
no
play.
more. I tell you right
He can't play for nobody,
now. But hey,
nobody,
two
But
biggest plays of his career.
two biggest plays of his career, what just happened. So he tried to run it. He got stopped a little bit short, but you know what? They said, you know what? Let's do a little dump pass to Tyreek and get the first down, and that secured the win. Now, sure. Now this one is going to be a little bit interesting because now, since they won, they got to go face Buffalo.
Yep.
This is going to be a little bit interesting because I know, of course, you got Tyreek, got Hardman, Watkett, Sammy Watkins, you got Kelsey, of course. But the Bills secondary is really good. So this one's gonna be a little bit tough for throwing wise. So it's gonna be a lot of smart throws by Mr. Mahomes. But other than that, man, yeah, the Browns didn't look like the ones that beat the Steelers. It just looked like regular season Browns.
Even with that, I mean, how much of that was the Browns looking like the Browns that beat the Steelers, or we kind of shot ourselves in the foot?
I'd say 50-50.
Just saying.
Mostly y'all shooting yourself in the foot though.
I mean, when you start off the way the game started, the first snap.
I thought I was watching the Colts and Seahawks again.
I mean, to me, it was 90-10 Browns. The Browns, they just
Of
handled.
course, of course you will.
Yeah,
Of course you would. Of course you would. Go ahead, Trey. Of course you would.
no, but the key thing though, like a lot of people want to talk about the particular play more or less where
Uh,
Higgins was about to score, and or it was ruled a turnover, and they're saying it shouldn't have been. And for the
Oh, the Derek. Oh yeah, the Derek Carr.
they feel like that was what ultimately decided the game. But what I want to factor into that is before Mahomes left with his injury, every drive that Mahomes was on, even including that drive, led to an attempt at points because you got to remember the kicker missed the field goal. But every drive that Mahomes was in the game led to at least 3 points or an attempt for 3 points.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that that's what changed the game, not so much for me. um, because they don't miss that field goal, and then who knows, the drive that Mahomes did get hurt on, they had to settle for 3. The way it was looking, he probably was going to score 7 if he didn't get hurt. So I can't just factor it onto that. And then you also have to factor in the fact that first play Henny got in, throws the interceptions, gives the Browns the ball right back. So you had opportunity. You guys punt it back. Then he picks up a third and what was that, 15?
Yeah.
I think it was 30-60. He got 15 or something. It left it
Yeah. Turn
fourth
to a
and
4 for
one.
1. Yeah.
So you let him scramble and pick up pretty much 14 yards, let's say 14, for the sake of me not having the numbers in front of me.
Right.
Picks up 14. Even then, 4th and 1, you have a chance to still get him off the field, and you let him complete a pass to pretty much seal the game. So that is on the Browns. You can't blame that missed call or bad call or whatever you want to call it. That's not what lost y'all the game. You had opportunities after that.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
comes
more
down,
time.
it comes down to them at that point.
To me, one thing that comes to mind about that, and for all the Cleveland Brown fans or anybody that was rooting for the Browns, um, obviously I was rooting for the Browns, but I call it as I see it. More times than not, referees aren't going to call a helmet to helmet when both players are diving at the pylon. Like, let's just be real about that. That's just typically how they go about it. And two, the one thing that I suggest, and I hope that the NFL does make a rule change about, is the whole touchback rule. Because to me, like with situations like that, I don't understand how the ball goes. I mean, I understand it because I know the rules, but they should change the rule to where saying if the ball does go out of, bounds type of deal while the player possesses control of it, and then obviously, it gets knocked loose, that saying, okay, um, the team that had the ball maintains possession, but has possession of the ball at the 20-25 yard line instead of being at the goal line type of deal. Um, because obviously the other team didn't possess the ball, but why should they? Why should the other team get the ball? I understand the rules again, but I just feel like they should change that rule to where it's saying, okay, you still have the ball because you were the last one to possess the ball, but at least make it to where it's a penalty where it's, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line, or lose it down 2nd and 10.
Yeah. I would say lose it down at
So
least.
it's just something just to, to balance it. I just think that that rule should change. It's rare that it happens, but even if they don't change it, I understand the rule. I'm perfectly fine with it, but I do think they should
Hey,
maybe make some kind of modification.
The Derek Carr.
But yeah, so yeah, with that being said, anybody else have anything else to say?
no, we go on to the
Huh?
next topic.
I want to give a shout out real quick to my boy Trey, repping that Tampa Raptors hat.
Yes, sir. Shout out my boy H.
If y'all want to get that merchandise, holla at Trill Trey on IG or Facebook. Um, you can contact him through. You can comment below in the comment section below, and Trey will, contact you and give you the proper information to how to obtain the Tampa Bay Raptors hat for all those Tampa folks out there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, go on to the next topic.